We track the final core beyond the city to the wilds. That's the edge of the wilds, where Johnson and his boys disappeared. The wild unknown. Place can eat a man alive. Place is so raw, even the Calamity couldn't cook it. Not all of it. You know what's better than having a slinger pistol in a fight? Having two. Savage things lurking at every turn. Pin cushions ain't the worst of it either. Pecker's got the core, like they're building a bastion of their own. The welcoming committee scrambles to attention. Didn't expect the kid so soon. Kid learns the hard way not to touch those things. They shouldn't have let their guard down. Getting that core was one thing. Getting out's gonna be another. He digs his way out of the clearing, but the wilds won't let him go without a fight. Wallflowers survived the Calamity. Slinger Jawson's old outpost is all that's left of him. Kid sticks to his old standbys. Don't ever turn your back on a pin cushion. A handful of windbag shipments made it out this far. Kid's seen the last of them. Jawson's boys left all kinds of stuff out here. Kid's roused up half the wilds by now. Leave it to the kid to make time for stomping swamp weeds. Then Kid gets the feeling he's being watched. Not by me, by a lunkhead. And lunkheads ain't fond of two-legged animals. Hit him anywhere but the hindquarters and you only make him mad. The Calamity must have scrambled their eggs. Hardly any signs of the old Johnson camp. The Wild's already reclaimed this place. He's anxious to get back. After all, he's got the final core. His journey's over, right? Well, no, it ain't. Not by a long shot. Kid knows something's up when we ain't there to give a warm welcome. See, Zolf and I were just wrapping up a heated discussion. Zolf can barely muster the words. The calamity failed, he says, but I will not. And with that, Zolf leaves us here, alone. Zolf cursed the city, cursed the Bastion, cursed me, said he was going home. I can barely believe he's come this far. When Zolf got through reading that journal, he just snapped, started smashing up the monument till I tried to stop him. Never could ask for a song. Live wine so rich, they say it's brought men back from the brink for one last taste. Zolf banged up the monument pretty bad. But there's a way to put her back together. The shards. We're gonna need all of them to nurse the Bastion back to health. The city brought the shards to the Wilds. Now the kid's gonna bring them back. Slinger Range is where the city's quickest pistoliers put themselves to the test. You have to think fast to survive the Wilds, and none thought faster than the Slingers. They could shoot their pistols with the speed of a machine. They knew just when to start shooting and when to stop. Those pistols could spit out rounds just as quick as you could pull the trigger. Learning to hold your fire could be its own challenge. No matter how fast you are, you can always get faster. The Slingers could plug you full of holes faster than you could say draw. The slingers like to edge each other out using customized pistols. Eventually, it all comes down to reflexes. I gotta say, kid's the fastest shot I ever seen. He blew through slinger range like it was nothing. The dynasty, to the families of the city, all reunited. He put some finishing touches on the business end of that thing. You don't want to know what he did to that thing, but believe me, it works. The less said about Drawson Bog, the better. That place will eat your mind. After Zolf's little episode, Kid sets off in search of shards. First stop, Drawson Bog. You'll get lost in that bog, I told the kid, and I won't be able to guide you back. Well, I let him go. What else could I do? What could any of us do? Zolf put us in a real bind. Hurt the Bastion bad. But the shards can make it better. They're like smaller doses of the core's medicine. Shame the only place to fill that prescription is out here in the wilds. This place is intoxicating. Don't know where he's gone. Might be gone for good, for all I know. Wherever he is, it's somewhere I've never been. Somewhere I never want to go. Dad welcomed him with open arms. Kid pops him good. That a survivor? No, ma'am. It's a lonesome ghost of a gas fella. What do you say to a kid who's seen too much? I'm Zolf of the Ura. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Now the kid sees something stranger still. Did anybody else survive? Sure enough, he finds peckers, lunkheads, wallflowers, pincushions, vine apples, swamp weeds, ankle gaiters. Now the Bastion can send him even farther into the wild unknown. Kid sets foot inside one of Caelondia's famous watering holes. He has the nerve to flash the shield he stole. He's a petty thief. Succeeds where the calamity failed. Would you look at what he did to poor old Rondi the bartender? Proper story's supposed to start at the beginning. It's so simple with this one. Now here's a kid whose whole world's alright, snoozing there on a rock in the sky. He wakes up. I'm just fooling. He sees what's left of the rippling walls. Years of work undone in an instant. He sees what's left of Pith, the bull. The gods, they're all undone. He sees what's left of his lifelong friend. His friend, he's coming down too. He sees what's left undone. Near lost my train of thought just thinking about that place. The shard ain't lost either. Not anymore. Now to find a ticket out of this hole. Bootlickers dig their nasty thorns into his heels. Disgusting things. Ever heard of a lung blossom? It's bigger than the stories say. Breath on that thing, like a scumbag sprung a leak. They say one whiff of lung blossom can make you lose your mind. Well, the kid prunes it down to size somehow. Mother only knows what happened in the bog. Kid never much cared to speak of it. A shard is like a poor man's core, but beggars can't be choosers. That's it. A few more shards like that, and we'll be back in business. A single shard can breathe new life into this place. Oh, his manners ain't so bad. The shard's got enough juice to spruce up any of these places. Looks like a little science project is all set. You'd never guess those things been to the wilds and back. I worry for him. Just don't care to show it. The city tried to use the shards to stake out the wilds. So much for that plan. Rothless Lagoon. Even the brushers stopped going there. Didn't like being eaten. Ankle gators used to roam the wilds, and they nested at Rothless Lagoon. Many a tale folks used to scare their children straight originated here. All kinds of beasts who don't know up from down, still lurking about. These beasts, they don't like company. Only the city's brushers knew their way around the lagoon. They moved quick and quiet, and they struck hard. Even the brushers learned to fear this place. They used to think that ankle gators were extinct. Well, they ain't. One of them's been living in the tall grass. They called her Queen Anne. The lagoon's got plenty of other dangers, of course. Turns out Queen Anne got a hold of a shard. Ankle gators love shiny things. Ain't time for pecker hunting, but the kid can't resist. Can't fight Queen Anne without the proper tools. Most of those peckers are smart enough to stay out of Queen Anne's way. They say you can't hurt an ankle gator unless it's raining, and it ain't raining. Brushers use their pikes to keep their distance around here. Now the kid can do the same. Sharp sticks make Queen Anne nervous, so she backs off a bit. Those pincushions been living off the ankle gator's scraps. Queen Anne can't fit down some of these narrow paths. Queenie leads the kid into some kind of twisted trap. One bad step in that tall grass and he's Queen Anne's lunch. He holds his ground. Seems the Queen's running out of options. The closer you get to an ankle gator's lair, the thicker the tall grass grows. Kid's gotta make a run for it. Those leaping lunkheads don't like Queen Anne any better than the kid. That old gator's right on his tail. Queenie must have scared a bunch of peckers out of hiding. Ankle gators don't much care for their young. That's why there ain't many around. Wanna know how to find an ankle gator lair? They use a kid as bait. Now she's coming for him. She's got nowhere else to go. The shard's sitting in plain view. They say if you run across an ankle gator, you better keep running. She's starting to get annoying. And now he's made her mad. Rest in peace, Queen Anne. That was for the brushers. Kid's done what needed to be done. Queen Anne's reign is over. We even got a crown jewel. That gator's a crazy gal, but so's the gal who promised to look after her. They said Queen Anne was just a folktale. Now there's living proof she ain't. All that trouble for a single shard. But you know what? It was worth it. The arsenal's complete, in case we need protection. Now we're looking at some serious firepower. Graver gimlet tastes different the longer you swish it around. Miraculous stuff. The next shard should be farther out there in the wilds. Over there's Camp Dauncey, where the brushers steeled themselves for secret missions. To prepare for the wilds, Ceylonia's brushers practice at Camp Dauncey. Had to navigate a maze of pincushions with nothing but a pike. It's a dangerous test for a dangerous job. Health tonics were off limits at Camp Dauncey. They said they made you weak. Cole said he couldn't use any fancy footwork, just your brains and your pike. If you did all right at Camp Dante, you got to go to the wilds. The Brushers were Ceylandia's field agents, and their training was harsh. Sometimes the course was brutal. You had to find a path through the maze as quick as you could. One well-placed throw could take out several of those ugly critters. A good enough run at Camp Dante could get you promoted to captain on the spot. The wilds ain't so scary now, are they? Point Lemaine's Grand Rail once brought the riches of the wild right to our doorstep. Know how Ceylandia became the richest city in the world? 2 words. Point Lemaine. If the wilds could ever be tamed, it was gonna happen right here. But now, the greatest outpost past the city line is nothing but a freak show. The army's triggers once had the place on lockdown. Kid might as well pick up where they left off. Blam! Just like my fighting days. Gun like that can even put the wilds in check. Point Lemaine seen better days for sure, but it ain't done. Whole place shudders in a fit. The Grand Rail of Point Lemaine. Not only is it still there, it still works. Of course, it's no longer shipping hides and alloys and spices, but it can give the kid a lift. Just as long as he can stay clear of the trouble on the tracks. calamity chewed up and spat out. Things eager to take back their turf. Kid don't let so much as one of those things slip by. Lunkheads settled in like they owned the place. Takes fancy footwork on the rail, but with wallflowers coughing fungus everywhere. Only one way to cure a cough like that. Not much wiggle room up there near the rail. Place used to be closed off, but now it's split open like a rotten pineapple. Of course, the Grand Rail's seen much more fighting in bygone times. The Ura-Ceylondian War, 50 years ago, doomed to happen again. It was right here that Zolf's Ura forefathers decided to mix it up. Okay, so maybe we didn't get their sign-off on the whole Grand Rail thing. That was bad. The rail must have shook the Ura to the bone down in those dens of theirs. Well, the rail won't last much longer now that the kid took the shard. It's still got one good run in store for him, though. All the rotten wood there on the rails turned it into swamp weed central. Ever tried dancing side to side while holding your breath? Choking on swamp weed. Peckers trying to prick you in the eye. Well, let me tell you, it ain't fun. It's the end of the line. He'll be picking swamp weed out of those boots for days. Turns out he's got company up at the rail station, waiting for him. Not just another wallflower or pincushion, mind you. At first he thinks it's Zulf. Turns out he's wrong. "This is for you," says the man. Then wham! When the kid comes to, the man's long gone, but something else is there. The only words kid recognizes on that parchment are for Zia. Well, what's a kid to do? He took the shard, he took the hit, and he took that note. That note cuts straight to the heart of things, don't it? Zulf's messenger was one of his people. Wondered just how many of them survived, and what exactly Zulf told him. I don't like to keep him waiting. Finding gourmet ingredients ain't easy these days, but we'll take what we can get. The note says it plain. Zia, go east to learn the truth about the calamity and our people. I'll be waiting. Sincerely, Zulf. He ain't big on small talk. Kid arrives just in time to sample Zia's famous cooking. It ain't too late to unlock the potential of this place. We need an awful big lost and found under the circumstances. The marshals would have been downright jealous. The shards are getting harder to find. That's Trigger Hill, where the Army's elite became the finest marksmen in the land. Caelandia's army only took the best, and the best of them trained on Trigger Hill. The Triggers believed they were nothing without their rifles. Nothing beats the feel of shooting a Caelandian army carbine. Sometimes you had to take care to steady your shot. The Triggers had clearance to modify their guns however they chose. Some felt the course was too easy, so the Triggers spiced things up a bit. Kid blows through that course like it was nothing. The Ceylandian army would have recruited him in a flash.